Inside the Fox 59 CBS 4 podcast studio, welcome to the Colts Blue Zone podcast. I'm Dave Griffiths. Glad to have you here alongside Mike Chappell and Matt Adams. As always, the Indianapolis Colts, your Indianapolis Colts, as Mike Chappell predicted in the preseason. 3-0.
I really did.
Let's go. Well, I sure didn't. You did, though. You were on this train. You said it was possible. You said 7-3 was possible. And people should be coming around to your way of thinking right now with this team.
That's the extent of it. I've missed on a lot of other projections, but we always said that, and it all comes down. We're not going to belabor this, but it all came down to get competent play at quarterback, and they've gotten that plus.
Mm-hmm, for sure, and a lot of help around him. A great season so far from Jonathan Taylor that we'll talk about. Defensive help, of course, as well. That is going to be taking a little bit of a hit this week, which we'll talk about in this podcast. But I want to start out with another thing that involves our very own Mike Chappell, is that the Pro Football Hall of Fame has announced its nominees for the next year's class. Reggie Wayne, in his 7th year of eligibility, one of the 128 semifinalists. Is this what it is, or is this nominees? Is this just nominees?
It's nominees, okay. And then we pair it to 50.
Right.
So
Wanted to get the exact
verbiage. There's like
right.
4 cuts, isn't there?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So first cut, Reggie Wayne's there. Robert Mathis, as he has been for several years in a row now as well. Jeff Saturday, 2 other high-profile Colts candidates. And this is a very good first-year nominee group, Chap. There's a couple of years, like last year, it seems like there was the opportunity for some of the older guard, the guys who had not gotten in yet to the Hall of Fame to be selected. This year, probably a little bit tougher with guys like Drew Brees, a first-time nominee, Phillip Rivers, Frank Gore, and Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes. Right. If I look at that list, Brees and Fitzgerald will be the 2 that will be pushed.
Yeah, I would agree.
And we're not going to get into the weeds now, but we the Hall of Fame, we've changed the voting process to where the way it works out with the math and the votes, we're probably going to get 3 modern era guys every year. It's going to be hard to get 4.
And it used to be 5.
Yeah, because again, they changed a little tweaking, and when they did it, it just makes it really hard to get for the math to work. And what makes it worse is when you get a couple of first ballot guys. You say, well, that guy's going to make it. Well, he takes 50 votes, so you think Brees is going to get it, and Fitz next year, I think, is Tom Brady, or maybe next year it's Adrian Peterson and then Tom Brady. So you just keep getting these guys, and I have always, and I still contend that Reggie Wayne is a Hall of Famer. He just is, doggone it.
Mm-hmm.
But when Andre Johnson got in ahead of he and Torrey Holt, it just mucked things up. And the fact that Adam Vinatieri didn't get in last year is it's just ridiculous.
Thank you for bringing in Vinatieri. Yeah, I was about to mention him as well.
I mean, my goodness gracious. If you want to argue who are the top 5, the top 3 quarterbacks all time, the top 3 running backs, you can have a really good spirit argument. Kickers is not. He's the best guy. So, but we'll get much more into that. But it's the first step, and Reggie's tired of the process. I understand it.
Mm-hmm. So are you.
And so and Vinny was PO'd last year too. But this is the first step, and we'll talk about it more later on.
Of course, we are blessed to have Mike Chappell here on this podcast. Chap's been a selector for the Pro Football Hall of Fame for quite a number of years, and is tasked with representing the Colts there in front of the entire selector group.
There's 50 of us.
50 people,
right?
As either media members. Are there former players on that list?
Dan Fouts, James Lofton.
Yeah.
Tony Dungy's one. Yeah. Bill Polian.
I assume you have Tony Dungy and Bill Polian's vote every year for these guys.
And it's funny. I've been told that people hold that against Reggie. Well, you're going to get these guys. So
terrible.
Which is just look at the freaking numbers.
Just look at judge them by what they did on the field.
Look at the career.
Yeah, whatever. And they were pretty darn good, as we've talked many times before on this podcast. The stats that Reggie Wayne put together, the top 10 regular season, postseason yards,
two
touchdowns.
2 players all time.
Reggie, Jerry, That's
regular
it.
season, postseason,
That's
top 10. I
it.
mean, that's it. Two guys.
Robert Mathis, most strip sacks in NFL history.
And he can't get a sniff to get into 15.
Yeah,
he just can't.
And other guys like Jared Allen, who's darn good player. Don't get me wrong, like gets selected last year, and I think he was on the list before Robert was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
If you're like going,
but it took him
a couple of years,
several years to get there.
Yeah, so it's a frustrating process for these guys who think that they've done enough or see other guys in the Hall of Fame
Eli Manning
done something similar. Yeah,
I got a text from Archie Manning about what's this about? About Eli not getting in.
Right,
it was one of the most not contentious but spirited debates Eli last year. So it's you're discussing all time Frank Gore. 16,000 yards.
Third in NFL history.
Third all time.
In rushing yards.
And I could argue that he's borderline Hall of Fame.
If this was 20 years ago, he might be a first or a second year guy. But the NFL has changed somewhat over these 20 years. So Frank has that going against him well, kind of the stigma, I guess, against running backs.
He was a very good player for a very long time. Was probably never a top, maybe once he was a top 3 running back in his career. So, but that's what we go through, and it's interesting, and it's frustrating at times.
And success hurts people because people like you've said, selectors can get Colts fatigue because
no question.
Peyton's already in, Freeney's already in, Harrison's already in, Dungy,
Marvin, Polian.
Why do you want more? Why do you want Reggie?
You guys won 1 Super Bowl, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. And that is at least an argument.
And I understand it.
Yep. So Chapp has more work to do this year to deliver the case yet again without Reggie hitting the field and giving him another 1,000-yard season and seeing what can be done.
I keep saying, Reggie, give me another 1,500 yards. It'll help you.
But as we've said, good players keep coming year after year. You mentioned Tom Brady's a guy, like Gronkowski will come out eventually. J.J. Watt's going to be on this list one day. Jason Peters, the tackle, is going to be a first or second ballot guy. There's so many that are in the pipeline right now that are going to be added to this list. So that just makes it difficult for these guys to get the
always
sniff.
talk about every year Chapp bottleneck, and I just knew I wanted Reggie to get in before they got to Larry Fitzgerald because I just feel like he's probably going to get the nod ahead of Reggie, and that's going to be one more year to wait, and then eventually you do run out of years to wait.
When Andre Johnson got in ahead of when he jumped line, it was one thing for Calvin Johnson to jump the line.
Yeah, I think so.
Of course, Andre Johnson, and I'm not disparaging Andre Johnson. I'm just saying, you put the careers side by side, Reggie's was better. Mm-hmm. It just was. And so was Torrey Holt.
And if there is a debate between the two, your point of view is get in line.
Right.
And Johnson
They made Marvin Harrison wait behind Andre Reed and Tim Brown, for crying out loud. I mean, come on.
Tim Brown, by the way, stole a Heisman Trophy from Don McPherson, Syracuse quarterback. So never a good argument in my mind that he should have been. No, he was a great player. Don't get me wrong. So.
We just took up like 10 minutes.
Exactly, as we should. Right. A little bit of Hall of Fame discussion, but the rest of the time we'll be talking about the 2025 Indianapolis Colts. 3-0 after a win over the Tennessee Titans last week. Convincing win in Tennessee.
So much for a trap game.
That's right, 41-20.
And I thought that might be a trap game.
Mm-hmm. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, if you're watching us on the Fox 59 Now app, you see the standings of the AFC South right now with the Indianapolis Colts 3-0 atop the division. One game back behind them, the Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-1. Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, both winless. Texans down there. There's some bad things going on in Houston.
You have a problem.
Yes, very much so right now. The quarterback is not looking like the Pro Bowl type guy that we've seen in at least the first year and a half of his career. And their tailspin that they got into last year at the end of the year, even though they won the division, their last half of the season was not all that impressive, but they hung out with dear life.
They begged people to win the division the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And nobody had the answer. But now it seems like the Colts have at least something, and the Jaguars are healthy with a healthy Trevor Lawrence.
And you don't know what you have with Trevor Lawrence.
Nope, and are doing good things though right now. For now, they're doing good things.
It's funny, we were talking on the way in that someone put a comparison of Anthony Richardson's 15 starts and C.J. Stroud's last 15 games, and AR is a tad better, which tells you what's going on with Stroud.
That's remarkable, just absolutely remarkable that you can put the stats of C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson next to each other and see that Richardson might be just a touch better.
Crazy.
A guy who's now riding the bench here in Indianapolis. So, and a guy like Stroud who came out gangbusters and got the attention of everyone in the NFL and led his team to the playoffs and was doing well in the playoffs. And they have some answers to find in Houston.
It looks like it's a lot of it's offensive line type of stuff, and they blew the line up in the offseason.
They did. And tried to do something different, and this different isn't exactly working right now.
That's their issues.
The Colts are one of 6 undefeated teams left in the NFL. There were 10 last week. Now it's down to 6. The other 5 teams are the Chargers, behind Justin Herbert, who's having a really good year. I think he's leading the NFL in passing yardage right now.
He needs to finally do something.
Accomplish something.
Yes.
Yep. Buffalo Bills, undefeated right now. Josh Allen, no surprise there. James Cook having himself a heck of a season, scoring a lot of touchdowns. The second ranked fantasy running back, I believe, second or third in fantasy right now. But Jonathan Taylor, number 1. We'll get to him in a bit. San Francisco 49ers behind the resurgent Mac Jones, leading them to 2 victories there. How would you like to be in the NFC NFC West right now? You got the 3-0 49ers. You got and then the 2 wins each, Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks, and LA Rams, who we'll talk about later this year playing. Every win is going to be valuable if you're in that division right now. So, that comes down to the Rams this week. Like they know that they can't fall behind right now because everyone else has taken off gangbusters here at the start of the season. Also, Philadelphia Eagles, of course, the reigning champions, still unbeaten at 3-0, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers behind a surprising and comeback spurring Baker Mayfield.
That's like, I think, have they had fourth quarter comebacks in all 3 games, or
at least the last 2?
At least the last 2
they have. Yeah, but that's crazy.
So, Dave, which is the bigger miracle, leverage or field goal block return?
That field goal block was crazy. The Jordan Davis field goal return. And he's like, first of all, he's like 340 pounds.
Big man touchdown, right?
Chugging 50 yards with the ball. Didn't need to because the game was basically already won because you're up by 1 or 2 points.
But they
do it anyway.
Beat the spread.
Exactly. That was huge.
You think there were people yelling at him to go down?
Screaming at their TVs.
That's the old bad beat.
Yes.
From Scott Van Pelt. And
one of the worst.
It just shows you, when you bet, it's out of your control.
Yep. And you're going into that last field goal if you have Eagles minus 3.5.
Right.
You're thinking, no matter what,
okay,
it doesn't matter. He can make it, he can miss it.
Knock yourself out.
I'm relaxed. I'm sitting back, order another drink, round for the bar. Then all of a sudden, block.
The kick six.
Return for touchdown. Oh, my goodness.
Upsets the spread.
That's why I say that's why they keep building casinos and not tearing them down.
Other people are thinking about or tearing up their tickets already in the casino. Like, this isn't going to... Oh, no.
Give me some tape.
Exactly. Put it back together. Daniel Jones in week 3 is one of the big reasons why the Indianapolis Colts moved to 3-0. Having another very efficient day. 18 of 25, 228 yards, 1 touchdown, 9.1 yards per attempt is really darn good. And 4 carries for 27 yards as well. Had a 17-yard run on an important
Should have had
play.
a 15-yard run and gone down instead.
And then took a shot that was a little shoddy.
We saw AR take one of those against Pittsburgh last year.
Yeah, he turned his back to him and got nailed right in the tailbone or whatever it was.
See, by the time you've picked up the first down, the rest of the yardage is negligible.
That's it. Get down.
You need to have that shock collar on him.
Yeah.
And where Shane, just nothing serious, just a little jolt to tell him to go down.
And Jones is also a guy who has been injured in his past.
Exactly.
That's one of those things that you have to be aware of. You are much more valuable on the field after a 15-yard gain than on the bench after a 17-yard gain. And for some guys who lived their lives in high school and college, being able to take those hits, no problem, because they were 6'5", 200, 220 pounds, and you're going up against guys that are more similar in that size, well, fine. But you get to the NFL, and there's a couple more guys who are closer to your size, and hit kind of hard. It might not be Bob Sanders out there,
but
they
love a chance to hit the quarterback.
Exactly, man. You start running in the middle of the field, and it is licking your chops seeing that coming. From the Ringer, the Colts are averaging 50.3 yards per offensive drive. That is 10 yards more than any other team.
That's
in the
not
league.
hidden yardage. That's amazing.
It is.
It is.
We talk about hidden yardage too much the last couple of
Right.
years. You know why? Because the offense wasn't good enough to do something
Right.
like this.
Because they needed the hidden yardage.
Exactly.
Right?
You're trying to find some good things about your team's performance. So you point, hidden yardage is really good. Rigo's having a great year punting the ball. Our special teams is covering really well. We're getting those hidden yardage plays. Well, nothing hidden about gaining 50 yards per offensive drive, weeks 1 through 3. That's 10 yards, by the way, not more than any other team just this year, but more than any other team in weeks 1 through 3 in the entire 2000s era. So 25 years now of NFL history. The Colts are just moving the ball. They're staying on the field. And it comes down to Jones being consistent. It's exactly what Shane Steichen has told us in the preseason why he chose him as the starting quarterback. And I don't want to talk about this ad nauseum again because we've done it for several weeks in a row, Chap, but it continues to bear fruit. Shane Steichen's decision to go with Daniel Jones, and we see what a quarterback that is consistent and good at finding completions and good at putting the team in the right spots pre-snap can do in a Shane Steichen offense.
Because he kept pointing out consistency, reliability, running the offense, the operation, so much of it prior to the snap. Like you said, getting him – sometimes you can't get into the perfect play. A lot of times you can't, but you can get out of a bad play.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to get first downs, when you're in a bad play and you don't get out of it, it's either no gain or it's a loss, and then you're behind the chains. But I think also it's what Jones has done after the snap. Was it 2 sacks in 3 games? I think it is.
He no sacks last
right,
week.
and that's a lot of that's on the offensive line that's playing very well. But then too, he's just getting rid of the ball. There's probably been 3 or 4 plays where he's just gotten rid of it just in time. I remember the one to Pierce against Denver where somebody was right in his face. So it is being decisive. It's knowing where he wants to go. And like I said, being decisive in getting it to the right place. And so far, so good. And again, I'll keep harping on this. The way they're playing offensively, there's no reason to think it shouldn't continue because he's just not making these incredible plays like maybe we would seen from Richardson down the field or whatever. They're just running the offense. And then we'll get to it with JT, who's playing at a all-pro level. But when your quarterback is, again, it's disrespect to say he's a game manager because he's not. But he's managing the offense. And I don't know what's more impressive, the 71% completions, the 9.3 per attempt. I don't know. No turnovers.
It's 0 turnovers.
And
yeah,
I'll catch, holy heck, because I'll probably write today or tomorrow about it. That's 3 straight games to open a season with no turnovers, first time in franchise history. And Jones wasn't involved, but it's 4 straight games because they didn't have a turnover against Jacksonville last year. But the franchise record for no turnovers in a season is 4 straight games, which they can do. And they're like 24-3 in their last 27 games without a turnover, which most teams are probably like that.
Pretty good stat.
So that's what it's about. It's in. I tried to ask Jones what he's what satisfied him the most of all the stats, and he goes into the quarterback mode. What wins?
We win.
We win.
Very Daniel Jones answer.
I'm thinking, thanks a lot.
Thanks, dude.
But again, it's just been efficient. I think they're second in the league in yards. Is it or third or whatever?
Behind Buffalo,
and second or third in scoring. 34 points a game, I think it is.
Tied for second or tied for third.
Yeah. It's just working, and I think what they're doing should travel. I realize the West Coast says those games are a little bit more difficult.
There's difference traveling there than traveling to Tennessee
against
a rookie quarterback that's struggling.
But the run game and the offensive line should be. It's like defense travels. So I think a run game does too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what's encouraging, and it's right now it's working. And I guess it can come apart. I just don't see the way they're doing things that it's just going to fall apart.
1 punt so far in 3 games for the Colts. Miami and Carolina both have 7 punts themselves. That is the second fewest punts in the league. So, first of all, I would have been surprised if you told me Miami and Carolina were the 2 teams.
I will tell you
Matt's
what,
like,
Dave,
you triple check those stats?
I went and I'm like, that cannot be right.
Probably because they keep turning the ball over too much.
I think that probably has something to do with it.
Or they get in 4-down territory in the second half.
4-down territory quite a bit, because that was my thought too, that there is no way that this is correct. It has to be some other teams that are actual good teams, but no, it was those two.
Yeah, that's surprising that a good team has the fewest, and then two bad teams, really, it seems like, are tied there for second. 3 and out, Colts only 8% 3 and out. I think they only have 1 or 2 3 and outs this entire year because they only have the one punt. Exactly.
And part of it, I think I haven't got the stat in front of me, but I think they lead the league in first down plays, yards on first down.
Yeah. And they were number 1 in success rate last I saw, which is an advanced metric that basically says like you gain 5+ yards on first down. Like it's like you get half of what you need or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but for the advanced metric nerds out there, it's not just for baseball. There are certainly things for football that say this Colts offense is performing at a really high level.
And their third down conversion percentage is very good too. So it's been just a really nice season.
With what we were saying about Daniel Jones, like labeling him game manager, sort of, not in a derogatory type of way, but also that he just finds completions, he gets the ball out quick. You might think that he's not among the league leaders in yards per attempt, but he is. He's only behind Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is 9.6. Daniel Jones at 9.3 is
I'm not sure what Daniel Jones's career best is. 6'8", maybe.
Well, the Giants are not exactly a poster franchise now of the past
since you brought
5-10
that up.
years. Yes,
go ahead. And we tend to go down rabbit holes.
As we do.
I always thought with Jones and the Giants that it was shared blame, that it was 60% Giants and 40% Jones. Seeing what's going on with the Giants, I'm thinking it was like 80-20.
Yeah.
Maybe 90-10. Again, he merits some blame for what went on there. But what are they doing?
Yeah, it just does not look like the same person out there.
Right. So and then when I see what the Giants are doing with their quarterbacks, and now they're going to Dart from Wilson, I just, this has got to be his problems in New York. So much had to be a systemic thing with the team, because he's always had this capability. We saw snippets of it in what was it, 2022?
Yep.
When they made the playoffs. But it's just amazing. And I think one day we could really talk further into the season, if this keeps up, is what this team does with Jones. We were talking in the press room. What do you do with him at the end of the season? This could be a very, very interesting and sort of expensive, which would be a good thing, decisions that they've got to make. And it won't be a hard decision. It'll be how you want to handle it.
Yeah, I'll make one final point before we get to Jonathan Taylor here, that Daniel Jones has led this Colts offense to its most points scored in the first 3 weeks of the season since 1967, which is a stat that you put out there on Twitter.
Were you alive in 67?
I was not alive in 67,
I was.
No.
Matt?
I was not,
See?
no.
One of us.
Right.
Daniel Jones, by the way, his career high in yards per completion was yards per attempt, was 6.8.
Right.
And what's surprising to me was the Colts of the 2000s were usually a fast starting team. Like Peyton would come out and do 40 points. But it seems like anytime that happened, they must have had one clunker in there.
Well, they played
back.
Was it in 21? They came out and they beat the Bills and they beat the Jets like 40-something to something and 40-something to something. Then they went to New England, and it was Tom Brady's first career start.
2001, yeah.
Yeah, it's when Bledsoe got blown up. Somebody on the sideline, I can't think who the linebacker was that got him. But Tom Brady beat him, and they just were awful. The Colts were awful.
Mm-hmm.
But no, you're right. With that team, you think surely they had 100 points. Nope,
never have. Jonathan Taylor, also a key cog in this Colts offensive attack. For the second week in a row, he is the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, had 17 carries, 102 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the win against the Titans. Jonathan Taylor, number 1 in the NFL in rushing yards, 338 for him. James Cook of Buffalo, I believe, is second, about 50 yards back or so. Taylor also leads the league in yards from scrimmage with 431. He's the first player in the NFL to earn this AFC Offensive Player of the Week honor in back-to-back weeks since Josh Allen did it 3 years ago, and he's the first Colt ever to do so.
I have a hard time. I trust the Colts media people. I really do. This is the team. Now, this is the first Colts player.
Yep.
Not offensive or defense.
Nope. Player.
Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dwight Freeney. None of those guys.
Popped off a couple weeks back to back.
Yeah, I mean, Peyton that year he had 49 touchdowns. I mean, really?
Never did it.
And I always thought back in the day they like to spread it around.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just a crazy stat that the first ever. It's just crazy.
Taylor has been very much on his 2021 form, it seems to me, so far this year, Chap. The Colts are using him extensively. And I think there were times the last couple of years under Shane Steichen that a criticism would have been they're not giving Taylor the ball enough early in the season. Like, why is Taylor getting 5 carries in the first half of your first couple games of the year? There's certainly been no shy usage of him. And historically, when Taylor gets a lot of carries, the Colts win. That's typically because they're running the ball. They're trying to run
running backs. You give them 20 carries, and they're going to break 2 or 3.
Exactly.
They just do.
They get the opportunity to do so eventually. They're going to find it eventually. So even if you have a game where you're averaging 3.5 yards a carry through the first half and a quarter or so, the fourth quarter could be very different because you start to wear things down. You start to understand where the defense is coming from. And you just give them enough cracks at the egg, they're going to make an omelet eventually.
You look at him, and it's 3 games is such a small sample size, but he's averaging like 3.6 yards a carry in the first half. Remember against Denver, it was like 11 for 38.
Yep.
Second half, it's 8.1.
8.1.
I mean, and it's just that one was at the third quarter or the fourth quarter against Denver. I think he had 10 for 98 because he's had his two of his massive runs in the second half, and it just blows up your stats. But again, I still, it's incredible to me that nationally he's not seen as a top 5 back. He just the NFL.com or somebody, NFL Network, they put out the top 100 players. The Colts were one of 2 or 3 teams that had nobody.
Zero.
I'm thinking, you try not to be a homer, but you're thinking, Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor, are you kidding me? Yeah. And Taylor, what people have to understand, he's averaging 90.7 yards rushing per game. That's the highest active in a league that's got Derrick Henry, and it's 5th all time. Behind, I tweeted it out, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Terrell Davis, and Eric Dickerson. And he's ahead of Walter Payton, 90.7.
Good list.
Good list. So and again, his what he brings to the team, he gives you, he just wears on you. Like he said today, he said, you just sustain things, and all of a sudden 5 yards becomes 6 yards, and 6 becomes 7 or 8, and then 8 becomes 40-some.
Yep.
And one of those runs he hit the top speed of like 22.4, which that's another stat that's come up with these next gen stats. And he said his goal is to hit 23 miles an hour.
23.
But it's just, that's what I can still remember back in the day when the Colts, I think it was maybe it was prior to Jim Moore, they played Detroit, up in Detroit, and they had Barry Sanders, like the first half, he was like 12 for 40, 12 for 36. He would do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And then he just guts you in the second half.
You can't let up.
You can't, and that's what the great backs do. All of them have those 1, 3, 0, 5, and then they get loose. And he's on. I had to check it again because his 338 in 3 games.
I think so. Yes.
It's the most in the first 3 games in franchise history of a franchise that's got.
They've had a handful.
Edgerrin, Lenny Moore, Marshall Faulk, Eric Dickerson.
Yeah.
And he's had that one. He had that huge game against Denver. The others have been just they wear you down games. Tennessee was 102 yards, but it allows Jones to run the offense, and it helps to have the lead, obviously.
No, and it gives them just a ton of flexibility with the play action.
Right.
I mean, how many times did they run a little boot with a play action last week, and they were able to get a good gain out of it? I mean, it wasn't a 30-yard play every time, but they were able to get a guy open because it gives that defense that extra half second to think about.
It certainly helps everybody. You're watching the Colts Blue Zone podcast on Fox 59 now. As we turn our attention to Week 4 in the NFL, the Colts travel out to Los Angeles, playing in SoFi Stadium against the L.A. Rams. Rams are 2-1 on the year. They have played 2 other games against the AFC South and won them. Houston in Week 1, the Titans in Week 2, even though they trailed at halftime in both games. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles last week, blowing a 19-point lead. As we already mentioned earlier, the block
little bit of
six.
field goal block there.
Exactly. So close to a holding on for dear life win, but not able to get it. You certainly could have asked after the first 2 weeks how good this Rams team is, because all you're doing is beating two teams that are 0-3.
Because
they're winless teams.
Week 1, hard to say. Maybe with Houston, maybe 2 good teams going to
right.
Week 2, we know the Titans aren't real good. They had 5 sacks in that game going against rookie quarterback. So really, that's the big test, right? Yep. Philadelphia Eagles,
and they were right there to win it at the gun. And it's amazing how
long was the field goal? 40, 42, 44 yards. It wasn't.
I thought it was a little bit longer than that, or maybe it was only that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
couldn't tell you.
Yeah, sorry. It was blocked. That's all I cared about.
Right. Yeah. It was a makeable field goal.
Yes, it was. It was definitely a makeable.
It wasn't a 60-yard. Was not a 60-yard.
It wasn't jacked Joey Sly for the Titans.
Exactly.
Going out
62 yards.
60 yards. 62 yards. He was almost as jacked as Adam Vinatieri is right now. By the way,
Adam is buffed.
He's not messing around, man.
No.
Yeah, he's in good shape right now. So you should just bring him into the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee.
You guys tell him why he doesn't belong.
Yeah,
intimidate the crew.
You get to do it.
Exactly. But anyway, back to the Rams. They have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense in the NFL right now. Actually, they're number 5 in both. And the Colts are number 2 in offense, number 7 in defense. Not a lot of teams across the league can say that, Chap, that they have both the balance on offense and defense to be in the top 10. And usually at the end of the year, teams that have that honor are in the playoffs, as we have seen from the Rams the past couple of years. So, like, you talk about what they are able to do well on offense, plenty, because they got Matt Stafford there. You certainly can't ignore the defense as well. It's not like it's completely fallen off after Aaron Donald retired just a couple of years ago. Like, they're still up there with some of the best teams in the league on that side of the ball. But you look at their best players. Puka Nacua leads the NFL in receiving. So we have the NFL's leading rusher and the leading pass catcher, receiver in terms of yardage this year. Has 29 catches, 333 yards. He's number 2 in targets with 35. Only Chris Olave with 37 has more. Averaging a not super impressive 11.5 yards per catch.
He's a volume guy for sure.
Exactly. Right. But volume
but very
games
effective.
Too. Exactly.
Very effective.
I mean, shoot, you gain 11.5 yards for every time that you catch the ball, you're gaining first downs.
And he does lead in receptions and yards.
Right. So he gets the ball a lot. He moves it a lot. And
he's always open.
Yep. Chap, you and I were talking on the way over here about their 1-2 punch with Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, who's been one of the best receivers in the NFL over the past decade and a half almost. But if the Colts are going to have Mooney Ward follow the best receiver,
you think they would?
Who's it going to be? Because Davante Adams is a pretty darn good player too.
I'm going to try to limit Puka as much as I can,
right?
And sort of take my chances with Davante Adams, and missing Kenny Moore is going to be an issue. It just is.
Yes.
I still have concerns with Xavier Howard.
You should, after what happened.
So then you're going to go with Mekhi Blackman. Jonathan Edwards, I kind of wish they'd go more towards him a little bit. Maybe they don't totally trust an undrafted rookie, which I would understand.
Yep.
But losing Kenny Moore, that's kind of like losing DeForest Buckner up front. He just brings so much, and he had to pick 6 and all that, but it's just his settling play and how he keeps people in position. Although we were joking, the last time they played the Rams here remember they went overtime.
It did.
And they're out there pointing. Kenny's pointing to
and Juju
Brents, and like, you got this, you got that, because it was a late move at the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And they decide not to cover Puka by the goal line.
They busted coverage. Game
over.
Yep, didn't work so well on that play. But that's something that Kenny does. Like, he gets people in the right positions. Right. And that's what he was doing. We were saying in that play, like, it was a late motion by the Rams offense, and Kenny is at the snap, like, trying to direct traffic. And you got a guy there who, I believe it was Juju Brents.
It was.
Yeah, okay.
I remember the hand motions.
Right.
Them pointing at each other. Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and not being able to figure it out at the end of the day. So that's one of those, you go back into the locker room or into the into the film room afterwards and have a good discussion.
Oh, so that's what you wanted me to do,
yeah.
huh?
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Now
And
I get it.
That's one of those also, like, for a rookie, it's like, oh, that's how fast things happen
Right.
in,
No
in the
question.
NFL.
True.
And
True.
you have to, like, you can't settle in with 5 seconds left on the on the play clock. Something could happen in those last 5 seconds that you have to be fully aware of. Or else it costs you the game at that point. Now the Rams were driving; it looks like they were to score anyway, but that was the ultimate play that sealed it. So one of those lessons learned type games, and one of those instances where you see the value of Kenny Moore, a guy who's trying to call something out and get everybody in the right position before the snap. That's not just something that the middle linebacker Zaire Franklin does. It's not just something that your free safety who sees everything Cam Bynum does. Like, Kenny's involved in that too, trying to get everybody on the same page before the play. And it is an Achilles injury for Kenny Moore. We were told initially that it was a calf. Shane Steichen clarified that on Wednesday of this week that it's more of an Achilles. And if you're an Indianapolis sports fan, I'm sorry to bring it up, Matt.
I know,
but I kind of have to do it.
You have to.
Like, that should raise immediate red flags based on what happened to Tyrese
Halliburton laying on the floor, slapping it.
Yep, just slapping, saying no in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, and we don't have to talk about that anymore.
And it's Jason Tatum and it's Damian Lillard. It's
like, those calf injuries can lead, or those Achilles injuries, because that's what the Achilles is. It connects the if I'm not mistaken, it attaches the calf to the bone. So we need to call Ralph Reef up here for to get his take on it. But one leads to another is kind of what we're saying. If you're a little bit sore, then that could be pretty dangerous, chap.
And that's why we've asked Shane about is IR a possibility, which
he's not going to.
It's 4 games.
Yeah.
And he says, not right now, or whatever he said.
That just means it's not today. Maybe in 2 hours it could be different.
I won't be surprised if come Saturday that's a move they make. I just won't be. And that's 4 games that it's going to give that a chance to really heal as much as possible. It eliminates the possibility of the player trying to really push the play. So I won't be surprised if Kenny ends up on IR.
Mm-hmm.
And they took remember when Jalen Jones went on IR? If I forget my timeline straight, Jalen Jones goes on IR with a hamstring, and then they signed Xavier Howard, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right about that. Was pretty much one after the other. Because there were a couple corners, like Juju was also hurt at the time. I think they brought in Howard while Juju was still on the team.
And then with Kenny, they've gone out and signed Mike Hilton. Mm-hmm. Who is, if you had to name the top 2 nickels over the past 5 years, it's Kenny and Mike Hilton.
Yep. There's probably one too.
And the fact that Hilton was with Lou Anarumo the last 4 years in Cincy, and he started probably 80-60% of the games. And unlike Howard, who did not play last year and just kept himself in shape on his own, Hilton was with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he signed like in July, so he was there at training camp. So he has training camp.
Right.
And then he played 10 or 12 plays in 2 of the 3 preseason games. So he's played.
Yeah.
It's not like all of a sudden he's got to come off the couch or whatever and play. And we asked him, how quick. He said, I think I'm not going to play every play this week, but I can play.
Right.
He expects to play. So if you lose Kenny, I can think of worse cases than having Mike Hilton step in and help fill it up.
I'll say this about Mike Hilton, though, and I agree that he's been one of the best in the league over the past 4 years or so over there with Lou Anarumo in Cincinnati. But it gives me just a little pause. Like, it would make me, if I was a Colts fan, a little nervous, the fact that he was in Miami and they let him go in the preseason. And we already saw Miami's secondary earlier this year. It is the opposite of good right now. And if they thought that Mike Hilton couldn't help them, that could be a red flag. Now, maybe they're stupid in Miami.
There is something going on in Miami that's not good.
They definitely have some problems down there, no doubt about it. Or maybe they did it for different reasons that we don't know about.
Right.
Because we don't know anything.
Maybe it's a system or skill.
We're not down there. Exactly.
I've never gotten the impression he's a locker room guy. I mean,
a bad locker,
a bad locker.
To me. Yeah, we talked to him this week. He seemed great.
Right. So it's because whenever they in the past, whenever the Colts sign somebody, once the season is going, you got to remind them these guys are available for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
really good players generally aren't out there.
Right.
So there's 31 other teams he could have been playing for, and he's not playing
immediately.
for any of them.
Because he told us, he said that free agency didn't work out like he thought. He thought that Miami had a chance, was a pretty good chance to do something. Didn't work out, and then he was cut, I assume, at the cut down.
Yep.
With the Dolphins. So he's been out there. He's been out there for 2 or 3 weeks. Although, if I'm not mistaken, with veteran players, you don't. If they're just guys you're not sure about, you don't have them on your roster the first week because their contract's guaranteed. So a lot of guys are available after week 2. But they had Hilton in for a workout, I thought, in the last 2 weeks. I'd have to go back and check that. And then when Kenny went down and is going to miss, I don't know, 2 or 3 games.
At least I would say, yeah. That's very fair.
Again, I would feel better bringing in a Mike Hilton than some of the guys they've had to bring in the past.
He's going to try to keep Matthew Stafford at bay, and few corners have been able to do that over his time in the NFL, entering his 17th season in the league this year, his 5th with the Rams, won a Super Bowl with them back in 2021. Stafford completing 66% of his passes for 739 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions this year. He's been sacked 5 times in 3 games. Shane Steichen called him one of the best to do it. And we had another interesting. We don't have to get into this. Just an interesting back and forth about who would be number 1 in your Pro Football Hall of Fame or rankings between Stafford and Phillip Rivers and Eli Manning. Those are 3 guys that kind of get molded into that same category there.
They're very similar guys.
They are.
I mean, yes. Rivers obviously it's got the big void on his resume,
right? With the lack of a Super Bowl.
But who do you think's got the better resume, Eli or Matthew Stafford?
Stafford is thrown for a lot of yards, and numbers are a big factor.
Has he thrown for more yards than Eli has?
I would think so. Like he's been in the league 17 years.
I would think maybe not.
You don't think so?
Well,
okay, you can look. Let's let Chap look up.
You keep talking.
I will, as I do. Also has some good running backs over there for LA. Kyron Williams, 226 yards this season, which is 4.1 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Blake Corum also can run the ball. Sometimes they use Puka Nacua on some end arounds, jet sweeps, get the ball in his hands, see what he can do from there. I mentioned Devontae Adams. When you look at where Stafford throws the ball, it is very much to those top 2 receivers, to Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. They've been the targets of 64 of his 93 passes, which is like 70% of his passes. Yeah. So it's those 2 guys, and then everyone else is not.
The next guy is Higbee, I think,
not
with 7
afterthought,
targets.
but very much secondary. Right. So what do we got?
Matthew Stafford's number 10 all time, 60,500. Eli's number 11.
Yes, I was right.
57.
Okay. So like just 3,000 yards.
This is crazy. The only thing Eli's got on him is 2 Super Bowls, which is pretty doggone good.
We weight those pretty heavily, right?
But you look at the rest of Eli's career, and he just played.
Mm-hmm.
And Stafford, I think it was in 12 seasons, I think it was, with Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
4 winning seasons, and he had great numbers. That's another organizational
that was
impediment.
A mess. Yeah.
And there was talk back, if you remember, briefly about the Colts maybe going after Stafford in 2021.
Yep,
I remember that.
And that just didn't happen.
I don't know if they just
the price was huge.
The price was too steep for them.
Although I could argue that no price is too steep
for a Super Bowl,
right? Yeah,
right.
Which the Rams won
for a quarterback that you're going to have play for you for 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't go that way, and they went with
my guy,
your guy. But again, Stafford is one of those guys you think he's still playing, and he's very, very similar, I think, to Phillip Rivers. Where's Uncle Phil on the list? Number 7.
Yeah, I was about to say he's higher. Yeah, he's got
63,000, and then Matt Ryan. Which we saw
we saw the tail end. Like you can't judge him by that. Yeah, exactly.
Great guy, great quote, and he just
tremendous career.
Right.
Just not when we saw
the valley.
Right. So, but Stafford, it's funny though. I looked at it, and the stats are incredible. He also has 502 sacks, which is the most active.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's 190 interceptions, which I think is 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So he will give you chances.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
to make plays.
He has confidence in his arm because it is one of the best arms in the NFL. Like it's him and Aaron Rodgers.
Improvising the throwing angle.
Yep.
I remember we were talking to Lou Anarumo on Tuesday, and he said, I'm still scarred by the no-look pass in the fourth quarter. And the Bengals were one stop away from winning.
Yeah.
And Stafford just made play after play. And he made that no-look pass to Cooper Kupp, which I went back and watched it 3 times. It was funny. One of the things that was on the clip I was watching, it had Matthew Stafford talking about it. And he said, after the game, you watch that and you think, what in the hell was I thinking? but then you complete it. But that's what the great quarterbacks do. They just find Phillip Rivers. You find a way.
Yeah, and that goes to I think what I was saying about having confidence in yourself and in your arm. Right. Like when you evaluate stuff later, you get to that. What was I thinking? Because on tape, it makes no sense what you're doing.
You don't throw that pass.
But in that moment, you know that you are one of the best to ever do it, and you have the arm to make it happen. So let's sling it and see what happens.
But that's why I think he will give you 3 or 4 chances to make a play.
Exactly. And so that's why you would love to have Kenny Moore out there, a guy who has made that play quite a bit in his career. You can say that Xavier Howard and Mike Hilton have too, but it's also been with different teams in the past before they were released and then kind of sat. Yeah,
but maybe with the Mooney Ward and a Cam Bynum is around the ball.
You talk. He's been great.
We were talking another little rabbit hole where we were talking with Shane Steichen how he said, we've got that mindset on day one mindset to go back. Always try to reset, no matter what you've done, good or bad. Reset and always have that. Okay, now we start again. And how is that different from what they've done in the past? Because whenever you do that, it's an indictment of the past.
Yep.
Well, the defense is more accountable and this, that, and the other. Well, that's an indictment of Gus Bradley. It just is. But this, when you say you've got a different approach as a team, these coaches were here last year,
right?
Except for Anarumo. But you can just see that there is more of a. We talked to DeForest Buckner today. There's some they're grasping Shane Steichen's message, and again, so far so good. I want to see how this continues. I think it will, because again, they're doing nothing extraordinary, but it's really interesting how these players have bought into what Steichen is preaching. But it all defaults to, in my mind, one thing. Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They've got a quarterback who's making things happen.
You can also tell me if I'm completely off base here. Feel free to do that. But to hear about them saying accountability is better than it has been in the past, when the team doesn't hold the starting quarterback accountable.
No question.
Thank you. You knew exactly where I was going. And then that's something that seeps to the rest of the team. It's like, well, is accountability that important?
Let him go,
and then all of a sudden, halfway through the season, you realize, we need to actually be a little bit more accountable here and bench this.
It took him that long. Here we go, another rabbit hole piling on. But it took him that long to realize that he wasn't doing what needed to be done.
Like, you can preach accountability all you want. If it's not done to the most important player on the team, it doesn't matter.
And how much of that was the fault of the Colts? A lot.
I'd say a lot of it.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Because again, in human nature, you do no more than you have to do, unless you're the special Mannings and Brady's and all those guys. You sort of say, well, this is all I have. I have to come in at 8:00 in the morning, and you talk to any player, and Jones is the first guy in there. The quarterback, it is just different. He is held to a different standard because the ball's in his hand every play on offense, and how he prepares. Michael Pittman says they have dinner on Thursdays, and how many times he's had to call Jones and says, "Hey, what's up? Where you at? Oh, darn, I was just looking over film. I'll be there soon."
Perpetually late to team dinner because
that's a good thing. Film, right? Doggone, that's a good thing. And again, maybe in 3 weeks we're talking about how all of a sudden Jones is littering the field with turnovers on all that. I don't think so.
Not right now. We're not, though.
Right. So far so good, and it starts with the quarterback, and I know the PR guys will hate to hear this, but Jones is not a really good quote. He just isn't, which is fine. Doggone it, we've had good quotes who just didn't play very well. So give me a quarterback, give me a player who's not the greatest quote, but doggone it, he plays, he does what he's supposed to. And right now, maybe Josh Allen, maybe Lamar Jackson are playing the position. Probably Josh Allen is playing the position better overall, top to bottom, than Daniel Jones.
I think Daniel Jones is the PR guy's dream because they don't have to worry about him saying
question.
anything. Whatever, you can tell.
No fires to put out here, right?
I watched the Manning cast the other day. I thought, well, maybe I need to write something out of this. And I think the Manning cast is really good with Eli and Peyton. But they so dominate conversation. And then you throw Daniel Jones in there, who is sort of reserved.
Right. He's not jumping in there to, bring attention to himself.
But that just kind of shows you how he is. And this is who he is. It's not like we're getting he's leery of the media and this, that, and the other. I don't think he was open anymore with the Giants guys.
No, I don't think so at all.
This is him, and that's fine. That's fine, doggone it. Just play the position.
Which he is, and he's playing it very, very well.
Right.
We haven't talked much about the Rams defense yet, so we should touch on that. They lead the league with 12 sacks on the year. They had 5 against the Titans in week 2, which a couple of teams have had a good number of sacks against the Titans. Denver had 6. We talked about that earlier this year. Colts had 4.
Yeah,
so
6-5-4.
They seem to be they're getting better, incrementally better.
Exactly.
One game at a time. Finally, the Titans will eventually get down to 0 here in week 6.
Doubt it.
Yeah, me too. Byron Young leads the way for them with 4 sacks. He's tied for second in the NFL. His career high was 8 sacks 2 years ago in 2023, so it seems like he's on pace for that. Jared Verse, really good player, was the defensive rookie of the year last year, even though he had similar stats to Latu because of how he was able to finish the season and really play in the playoffs as well. Had a really good end to the year. But that's kind of the strength of the Rams right now is their front and getting after the quarterback.
They have 12 sacks, I think, on the season.
Yep.
That's tied for the league lead.
They're
team.
+1 in turnover differential. They have 2 interceptions, 1 fumble loss.
Colts are +5.
1 interception and 3 fumbles recovered. When you have no turnovers, that number's going to go up.
You're going to be plus something.
Yeah, exactly. So the Colts, no turnovers, same as the Bills and the Bucks. All 3 of those teams, 0 losses. That helps.
That's not a coincidence.
No, it's not.
Nope.
It has 0% coincidence.
Turn the ball over leads to a lot of dubs.
Injury report. The Rams did not practice on Wednesday. Devontae Adams with a hamstring injury. Certainly something for us to watch over.
Watch that one closely.
Tackle Rob Havenstein with an ankle injury. Limited in participation in practice. Steve Avila with an anchor and Justin Dietich with a chest injury. Both of those guys guards on the offensive line. Brandon Fisk, an oblique, their defensive tackle there. Cameron Kitchens with a shoulder, their safety. Tight end Kobe Parkinson with a shoulder. For the Colts on Wednesday, DeForest Buckner did not practice with his back injury. He stepped up before us just fine on this Thursday as we're talking right here on the podcast and looked fine. And the only way that you're going to keep DeForest Buckner off the field is if he's not able to walk. Because last year he literally was not able to walk, and that's the only way they were able to do anything with it. Where am I going? Matt Gonzalez with a toe injury.
I heard he had a boot on his
He
foot.
did. Yeah, he had a boot. So I don't know what that was all about, but we'll certainly have to talk to Shane Steichen later in the week when he's back in front of a mic to get a little bit more clarification on Gonzalez. Xavier Howard was just a rest day, veteran rest day. Kenny Moore with his Achilles injury. Alec Pierce, a concussion, trying to get through the protocol. And Rigo Sanchez was out due to a personal matter, but I did see Rigo in the locker room today, so I believe he is back with the team. And we'll be able to check out the participation throughout the week. But of course, Kenny Moore is the biggest name here for the Colts, and probably Devontae Adams
and Pierce.
Like,
right. By the way, Pierce, really good game. We haven't talked about him because there's been a lot of other things to talk about, but he's making somewhat of an impact in this middle game. Yes, exactly.
Game now.
This is what he said he wanted to get better at this year, and he has done nothing, Chap, to hurt his value at all because he's going. This is the last year of his contract. If anything,
somebody's going to pay that kid good money.
As you like to say, buku bucks.
I don't know if it's here or not. First, you got to figure out what it's going to be.
I was going to say, and if you're talking about franchise tags, you're thinking maybe the quarterback is a prime candidate for that if this continues to happen, roll along the way that it is right now. So
I was looking at the participation today. Buck is back.
No surprise.
No surprise.
Xavier Howard is back.
He was just a rest day. Yep.
Pierce, no. Kenny Moore, no. Gonzalez, no.
That's something.
I think that we were talking. I thought if he's back today, there's a chance. I think that means
Dalton Tucker.
Dalton Tucker goes. We talked to Tony Sperano today, and he just said this guy started 7 games last year. Now he ended up losing his job.
I was about to say then he lost his job.
Right,
so.
but the way you get better is you play.
Yeah, that's true.
Play. So and this is coach speak. They have total trust. If Tucker has to play,
next man up,
and we've made fun of that in the past, primarily because their next man up wasn't very good.
Right.
So, but no, the problems are Kenny Moore, which Mike Hilton will take up that, and Alec Pierce. That means A.D. Mitchell. You have to have him step up and make plays. I'm not sure if he had a catch last week, but
I don't think he did.
But he had the long
had the pass interference.
DPI,
right? Yeah.
Which is it was like a 39-yard reception.
Yep.
I'm waiting. I need to see more from A.D. Mitchell, but I've liked what I've seen thus far.
Yep. Yeah, I'm encouraged.
But I still think you're going to have this skill set group is capable of compensating for Pierce for a game. The fact he's not practiced 2 days, he's not playing Sunday, folks. He's not.
Probably not.
And he's missed a game after. This is his third concussion, second in 10 months. He had a concussion in December last year. He's missed a game after each one, so he's not going to play this week. It's kind of like Mooney Ward got a concussion against Miami, didn't practice, and then so he misses the game. So I think it's going to give A.D. Mitchell a chance. Although again, when you've got Warren, and I'm still waiting for Josh Downs to go off, and Josh Downs will go off. He's that good. And we were talking. One of the topics this week is how Michael Pittman's playing. And to watch him out there playing now, and it's night and day to last year with that, what was it, disc injury last year or whatever, that he just wouldn't get it fixed. He wanted to play, and now he's back to playing pretty doggone good football. I wrote something early in the week about go back and look at that. Was it the 2020 draft? Or 2020 with Pittman and
2020,
2020 with
Taylor,
JT, and I told her, I told Pittman, I said, well, I said, you realize you were the first guy taken. They wanted you, and he said, yeah, he said that's the one thing I can flex on him over, but they've gotten their money's worth out of those 2 second-round picks, and primarily because they've given each one of them a second contract. But Pitt's playing really well. And when you pair him with Taylor, it's a good group right now.
Colts visit the Rams, 4:05 kickoff Sunday. If you're in Central Indiana, you can watch it on Fox 59 at 11:30 a.m. Of course, our Colts Blue Zone pregame show over on CBS 4. The Rams are 3.5-point favorites. Over/under is 49.5. So Vegas expecting something along the lines of a 26-24 ball game, right around that range. 26-23. Chap and I were talking as we were coming in today that. You think that I was going to say if the Colts are playing at home, I would take the Colts, but since they're on the road, I'm leaning to the Rams this week. Just I think that's a really good team, and going on the road is a tough road to hoe, so to speak, against them. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I'm going to go 26-24. I think it's going to be pretty close. I think the Colts are playing well. I think it's going to be tough to stop the offense, but I think the Rams offense just could be a little bit better. Maybe 28-24.
I'll
go 26. That's the first thing I said. I'll go 26-24. That's what it is. Chap, you go next, then Matt can wrap us up.
I've got 27-23 Rams. Again, with my soothsaying, I had them losing this game in the Chargers game. 27-23. I think the Colts are going to miss Kenny Moore. I just do. And they have to have Spencer Schrader keep cleaning up drives, but 27-23 Rams.
With Pierce out and with Kenny Moore out, being a road game here with a really good team, I think it's going to be a good game. I won't be surprised if the Colts do find a way to pull it off, but I am going to say 28-24 on the Rams in this one.
Okay, we certainly appreciate you watching and listening to the Colts Blue Zone podcast this week. Subscribe, get us downloaded to your podcast listening device as soon as we drop. Watch us always on YouTube on the Fox 59 Now app. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Dave @DaveG_sports. Excuse me. Mike Chappell is at MChappell51. Matt Adams is at Statamatti. And once again, thanks for listening to the Colts Blue Zone podcast. We'll see you next week.